You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network.
Here we go now. Here we go now. Here we go now. Mm-hmm. Here we go now. Here we go now. Here we go. Happy holidays, guys. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. This is our weekly recap of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. It is pre-recorded because it's the holidays. I know you probably are very busy. You got gifts to buy, things to do, places to be, things to get done. So am I. Okay, so am I. But I hope you guys are having a fantastic holiday season. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Just so much is happening. So much is happening. But I hope, hopefully, good things are happening for you this holiday season, that you guys are feeling good. I don't know if Mary Cosby's feeling good, because this documentary is getting a little bit more promo, and another trailer has been shared with our friends over at People Magazine. And I find that to be interesting because, you know, anytime I talk about People Magazine getting exclusives, and this is an exclusive from People Magazine, I always say that's the media arm of NBC Universal. So I find that to be interesting. This documentary that's coming out is a documentary from TLC. Not saying that TLC doesn't have their own media arm and exclusives with People Magazine. I just find this to be very interesting that People Magazine is the one with this exclusive. And we're going to play for you the audio of this, and we play that under fair use. But I'll tell you what they're saying. Before we get into the episode, we have to talk about this documentary on some level. I can't promise that I'll actually recap or talk about the documentary, but as more information comes out, I want to talk about it. If it's worth talking about, it comes out on January 1st, for those that were wondering, and it's coming out via TLC. And it's based on what we've seen so far. There isn't anything necessarily new that we haven't heard, and I get it. A lot of us love Mary Cosby. Mary Cosby has been fantastic on the show. She's been fantastic, especially recently. Homegirl was on a donkey in this week's episode. Normally, she'd be like, I'm not engaging in any of this. A little bit of old Mary Cosby came in at the end of the episode where she was just like, I need to stay in. I can't go out with you guys and party, hardy, okay? But I understand that we love Mary Cosby, but I also think it's important to remind you, we have to listen to potential victims. And I know some people are saying, well, nothing that I'm seeing from these trailers are making me believe anything beyond this is like your typical black church. And this is, you know, people that aren't familiar with the black church viewing it in another way. Could be true. We have not seen the documentary yet, but you know, and probably one of the reasons why I'm blocked on X by Mary Cosby, we talked about some of the accusations against Mary Cosby and her church. This is why I always tell you, like I like Mary Cosby, but I'm team me. And at the end of the day, if there are real victims with real legitimate stories, we're going to talk about it. And we're going to be like, oh, wait a minute, Mary. But right now, these are just allegations. So according to People Magazine, former members of Mary Cosby's Faith Temple Pentecostal Church are speaking out against the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City star. In a People exclusive preview of TLC's upcoming documentary, The Cult of the Real Housewife, ex-congregant Ernest Enoch addresses the audio that was leaked in 2020. Remember, we talked about that too, of Mary chastising her church members about only getting 14 cards for her birthday and the amount of money they gave her. You also may have seen in the last year, I feel like a couple of churches have been called, and a couple of pastors have been called out for the way that they were asking and demanding money at their church. Quite a few, maybe like 5, I feel like have gone viral on social media about this. So I think that's important because a lot of people are saying, well, yeah, this is what the church has always been. However, in 2025, I don't think that's acceptable. Maybe you don't feel that way. So they say this. It says, I was there when Mary complained about the 14 birthday cards, Ernest says in the clip. I was always there. I'm the organist. Not the organist is speaking. I gave this chick a card. Not chick. I gave this chick a card with $1,000 in it. Ask me if she said thank you. When the audio about the birthday cards was first leaked, Mary, who's 53, addressed it during the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City reunion, saying that it was taken out of context. She also stated that it was unfair to assume that she was using her congregation's money for her own purchases. And the thing is, if you watch Mary Cosby on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, she does have a lot of high-end name brands and things like that. And some people find that to be disturbing when you own a church. And she's not the only one that's been accused or shamed, or people have said, like, I don't think a pastor or owner of a church should be living a very luxurious lifestyle. It should also be noted, in all fairness, Mary Cosby inherited also other businesses, not just the church, and properties from her grandmother. I think we have to be fair. So some of her money isn't just from the church. But also you should know that Mary Cosby is suing a company that, I guess, handled the money of the businesses and the church, and she's suing them for millions of dollars that they apparently may have stolen, allegedly. Ernest continues. He says, this is what Mary Cosby said. She says, Andy, my church couldn't possibly take care of me. She told the host, Andy Cohen, I'm a God-fearing woman and would never do that. Ernest's sister, Rosalind Enoch, further claims that the cult of the Real Housewife clip that Mary and her husband, Robert Cosby Sr., the widower of Mary's late grandma, Rosemary Mama Cosby, created this thing called heave offerings at Faith Temple. They were going to have them every 6 months, she said. It started to increase over time. We could have just had a heave offering meeting, and then in another week or two, we're having another meeting where we're being told that there's an emergency and they need $100,000 and that they need it by Thursday. The worst announcement you could hear when you walked into the church is, tell everybody don't leave. We need to have an emergency saints meeting. Oh, Lord. You knew it was going to be about money. Rosalind claimed that Robert Sr. would instruct ushers to stand at the doors. So they were the originators of close the doors. Sorry, I had to. He would tell the ushers to stand at the doors during these meetings at the church. You're just being barricaded in here, she said. During this meeting, everyone put their name and their amount on the list. If you didn't have a certain amount, Robert would say, that's all you have? Damn. I mean, there's nothing spiritual about that, right? Rosalind also claimed that they used credit cards to collect money. She said that she even once texted her debit card number to the member who collected the money. There were times that I would give $5,000. It was a lot. This money is getting bigger and bigger. There were people cashing out 401ks, losing homes. It got to be a financial embarrassment for some. Still, Rosalind said that the members would not know where all this money was going or what it was being used for. I do recall them saying, allegedly, that there were periods of time that Mary would go disappearing and that they wouldn't see her for months. I think she would be here in New York or something like that. They claimed that some of this money was used on surgical procedures, allegedly. I'm sure some of that would probably discussed in The Cult of the Real Housewife. So they said The Cult of the Real Housewives is a 3-part docuseries. Oh, I thought it was a one-off. That traces the dramatic rise of Faith Temple from its founding by Mary's grandmother to her passing. It also covers the controversial transfer of leadership and Mary's marriage to Robert Sr. While Mary has not addressed specific claims in the documentary, she called the project sad and ashamed when asked about it at BravoCon in November. The Cult of the Real Housewife premieres Thursday, January 1st, New Year's Day at 8 p.m. Eastern on TLC. All episodes will be available to stream the next day on HBO Max and Discovery Plus. I don't understand why they still have Discovery Plus. I recently canceled it because a lot of the content that's on Discovery Plus is on HBO Max. But okay. All right. Okay. Let me focus. Let's talk about this episode. Oh, wait, no, let me play the audio for you. I know you guys are like, wait a minute, we want to hear the audio, because sometimes me reading the transcript is not the same as hearing the trailer. So the trailer is about 2 minutes and 15 seconds. We're playing this under fair use. I might stop and go, guys. Okay.
I was there when Mary complained about the 14 birthday cards. I was always there. I'm the organist. I gave this chick a card with $1,000 in it. Asked me if she said thank you.
There is a plan that God has for every one of us.
Faith Temple under Robert and Mary Cosby. They created this thing called these heave offerings. They were going to have them every 6 months. it started to increase.
The way that they're telling the story and they're showing images of outside the church, above the church, but they're also, it looks like they're having actors reenact Mary Cosby and Robert Sr., but you're not seeing their faces. You're seeing them sort of dressed up and there are certain positions in the church. You can see this on people.com in regards if you want to see the trailer.
Over time. We could have just had a heave offering meeting, and then in a week or two, we're having another meeting where we're being told there's an emergency and they need $100,000. They need it by Thursday.
Let you feel God tugging.
The worst announcement you could hear when you walked into that church is, tell everybody don't leave. We need to have an emergency saints meeting. And you knew it was going to be about money.
With his spirit.
We have these meetings after church.
Purpose. What is
Robert would instruct ushers to stand at the doors. So you're just being barricaded in here. During this meeting, everyone put their name and their amount on the list. If you didn't have a certain amount, Robert would say, and that's all you have? I mean, there's nothing spiritual about that, right?
Nothing spiritual about that at all.
To collect money, they use credit cards. In fact, I can recall texting my debit card number to one of the members that collected on the money so that he could enter that in manually. There were times that I would give $5,000. It was a lot. This money is getting bigger and bigger, bigger and bigger. There were people cashing out 401ks, losing homes. It got to be a financial embarrassment for some.
I'm doing everything. I got a loan I'm trying to pay off in my 401k. If I pay it off, I can pull some more out and help. It was a lot of pressure.
Where's all this money going? What is it being used for?
Who knows? Who knows? As I said to you before, this 3-part docuseries will premiere on TLC on January 1st, Thursday, January 1st. And look, if it's good enough, it's right around the holidays. If I didn't party too hard on New Year's Eve, maybe I'll talk about it the next day. Maybe. All right, guys, if you're just joining us, be sure to like the video. It's an easy, free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. You can also hear our live recaps and special episodes on the Kempire podcast. Also, I have some news. Drum roll. One night only. The Kempire After Dark live show is coming back to New York City Friday the 13th. March 13th, that is, at the Green Room 42. Ticket information will be available in the description, or I'll pin it in the live chat as well. Again, for those that are just joining us, this is pre-recorded. But tickets are now on sale. Come to New York. I will not be doing a lot of shows in 2026. I haven't decided if I will be doing shows where we've gone before, but this will be, as I said, one night only. The Kempire After Dark show returns. So if you would like to be a part, come to New York, or, because this is what I love about our friends over the Green 42, get the live stream option. There's also meet and greets available. When you go to the website, scan the different options. There is a ticket and meet and greet ticket available price. And there's a live stream option if you go all the way down at the bottom of the page. So go to KempireAfterDarkLive.com/NYC. That again is KempireAfterDarkLive.com/NYC. If you are not in the New York City area and you can't come, your option for the live stream is usually available up until a week later, but you have to buy the ticket before the live show. Okay, more information, again, will be available in the description. It's a night of hot topics and so much more. So much more. One night only here in New York City, Friday, March 13th. I'm excited. I've been sitting on that for a hot second. All right, let's get into the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, because I don't know how you guys felt about this week's episode. How would you rate this week's episode from 1 to 10? I feel like we're starting to plateau and maybe pivot downward this season. But I also find it interesting because some of you have asked, why isn't there a after show? And it makes me wonder what happens at the end of the season. Because it's very intentional to keep them separate. As you know, the last story that we talked about was the fact that Bronwyn apparently said at the reunion that she is separated from the Todd father. Okay, we've talked about that. She confirmed this to People magazine exclusively last week. I think it was last week. Wow, it feels like time. Like it was so long ago, but it hasn't even been. It's probably been a week since the announcement. So, and with no prenup, by the way. So it makes me wonder if that is part of the reason why we are keeping them separate and why we're not getting an after show. What you are getting, though, are these separate conversations with producers. So they're individually are answering questions very much like an after show. I'm interested to see how the season ends. But as you know, if you've been watching these last couple of weeks, last week they started their big international trip. They're in Greece. This week, the focus is on Meredith, Heather, and by the end of the episode, Angie and Brittany. High body count here. We will get there. So the next day starts, okay, and they have the group breakfast, okay. Bronwyn is in her Virgo bag because she makes a chart with the friendship commandments that they did at her party, her little Boston Tea Party, okay? And she explains how it works, okay? And she says, this is they act like kindergarteners, I'm going to treat them like kindergarteners, okay? So she comes with this like a system of like, if you get this many marks, this is what's going to happen. You won't get the prize at the end or something like that, okay? It's also Mother's Day. And Heather says she's never had a Mother's Day without her kids. She's like, best Mother's Day ever. And I know some people probably feel like, oh my God, how could she say that? But I also think that there are some mothers that can relate to Heather. Not that she doesn't love her daughters, because remember, when we first were introduced to Heather, the best part of Heather was those scenes with her daughters, okay? But I could also understand that some mothers are like, okay, I'm tired of being identified as just the mother, and I'm happy for them to go on their own. I can actually do some stuff for myself. And I think that might be also from the whole Mormonism of it all as well, okay? Meredith is moping around this morning because remember how it ended last week with Meredith, her, stepping away from the table because she was so upset with the way that the conversation with Heather went. But she's moping around. She's mad. They got something stuck in the coffee machine, which that's happened to me before, where I was trying to use one of those when I would have coffee. I would always have it black. I don't really drink coffee, but like when you're abroad, sometimes that helps with the jet lag, so you're able to stay up, that kind of thing. So I remember I forgot what country I was in, and I did that, and I was like, this is not working. I had to get the hotel staff to come and figure out what happened. So apparently they did something similar. So Meredith comes over, I guess, because she wants her coffee, and she's like, and then she walks away without talking to anyone. All right. Whitney says she's looking forward to some one-on-one time because now they're going to do these separate group activities, which is very common in Housewives. And she's being paired with Meredith and Heather and who else was there? Brittany. Meredith doesn't get along with any of these people right now. So I kind of felt for Meredith. She needed at least one other person because it would have felt like a gang up with just her being there and she's not getting along with any of these people. Okay. But Whitney said she's looking forward to it. She said maybe without Lisa being there, they could actually have a conversation. Whitney really tries to act as if she's innocent. Like, you can't just call someone an alcoholic or a pill popper and then be okay with you. Or say someone has a cult. Like, Whitney does say some really dangerous things. And when I say dangerous things, I'm not just talking about, like, dangerous for the show. Like, real-world ramifications, which is so interesting when people talk about her stuff. Like, girl, you're the main one that says damaging things about people. But okay. So Mary steps away from the group, and she goes to have a conversation with Meredith because she says that she's really concerned about Meredith. And Meredith says she's tired of feeling like people are treating her like the dirt on the ground. I don't know about all that, Meredith. You really are making yourself out to be very holier than thou and innocent here. Meredith says that Heather and Whitney are mean girls, which I find to be interesting because the way that you've treated Brittany, and if what they're saying is true when it comes to what went down on that plane, you are the main one. That was mean girl behavior, you and Lisa. Just maybe because we don't have it on camera, you feel like you can get away with calling other people mean girls. But always pay attention to the one that says that they're a girl's girl, or they start calling other girls mean girls. Pay attention to them, because you'll probably start seeing interesting behavior from them. And you'll be like, wait a minute, who's the real mean girls here? Right? All right, so the group gets ready and they get into their sprinters to head on all over to their separate activities. So in the car, Heather, because Heather is such a producer, because when you're really mad at someone, and we've seen this in other housewives, you're not engaging in the conversation. You're not trying to engage that person in the sprinter, but she's a producer. She wants to kind of get that moment. She wants to get that screen time. She wants to have that sprinter moment because, Salt Lake City is known for their sprinters moments. Heather asked Meredith how she feels about the group pairing, and Meredith's like, not good. Meredith says that she wants to, she says that the way that she speaks with this group, at one particular point, they said she can't speak. The next point, they're saying like, oh, she's using these very legal terms and she's too educated. And Heather's like, I'm educated too. Okay. So in the middle of going in a conversation with Heather, Meredith picks up her phone because Brooks calls her. It's like, Mom, how's Grace? So Meredith, in the middle, has a conversation. Production asks her, how do you feel about that? So she reenacts it, and she's like, I have to talk to my son. Okay? So Meredith says that she would rather be with her family for Mother's Day. Lisa and Heather are like, I'd rather be here. No offense, I love my kids, but I'd much rather be here. And in all fairness, though, you all knew that you were going to be in Greece on Mother's Day. Okay? Sidebar. Happy birthday to me, because if it's Mother's Day, if it was this past year, my birthday was the next day. Just saying. My birthday was my birthday's always around Mother's Day. Okay. So Meredith hangs up with her son because they're like, is she really taking this phone call right now? She's like, fine, I can't talk to my son. I can't, because she makes this a bigger issue later on. I can't talk to my son. They want me to go. I will talk to you later. Love you. Lord have mercy, that family. Oh my goodness. Good looking family, but the vocal fry of it all, I would never want to be around them. I think I'd be like, wow, they really speak like this. Okay. So Meredith says she would rather be with her family, okay? So Heather says that if she brings up her issues with Meredith, and she's like, I feel like my track record was thrown out the window and not given grace with you. And Meredith was like, you know what? I apologize. But that's not good enough for Heather. She's like, but what about Brittany and Whitney? How about you worry about yourself? She's like, well, I apologize, Heather. I was like, what about Whitney and Brittany? So Whitney's like, yeah, what about me? Well, first of all, Brittany, there should be no issue with you because you guys sat down and had a conversation. It should be dead with you. So Whitney starts chiming in, and Lisa tries to help the situation. They're like, Lisa, stay out of it. Here's the thing, if I was Lisa, what I would have said. If y'all want me to stay out of it, then stop having conversations in the group setting. Because if you're going to have a conversation in a group setting, I'm going to have my opinion. The same way that you guys like to jump in and have an opinion. That's what I would have said in that moment. I was like, if you really like to have a one-on-one with Whitney and Meredith. Don't have the conversation in my presence, because I'm going to feel like, well, no, that's wrong. I feel like you guys are not getting to ground zero when it comes to this conversation. All right. So Whitney asked Meredith why does she feel like she's always after her. Meredith says that Whitney called her a pill popper, alcoholic, and a cheater. And I was like, she did. And those are some very serious accusations. And I could also see, like, with those accusations, she would never see it for Whitney. But then I know what you're thinking. But Kempire, then we had this moment.
Got it.
Meredith can go herself. I'm done with her. Because I'm not a whore and I don't cheat on my husband. Her and a dumb family that poses. Why don't you own a house? Wait, you can't. Because your husband changes jobs every 5 minutes? Fake Meredith is a piece of I have your back and I'm offended by that. You that piece of garbage whore. I hate her. She's a whore. She's half of New York. She can go herself.
Wow. She was able to forgive that, though. I mean, that was one moment. In all fairness, that was one moment. And Lisa has been there for her ever since. With Whitney, it feels like multiple moments over the years, okay? Including this season. She called her a pill popper and alcoholic. I feel like that's a big accusation. I'm not saying that it's not true, but I feel like that's hard to come back from. Especially if you're trying to have a friendship. It's one thing if the strangers on the internet say it. But it's another thing if you work with this person and you are trying to have a friendship with this person. You can't come back from stuff like that if every time you're coming out with an accusation that's damaging to someone's character. I can't blame Meredith, to be honest. And y'all know I'm not Team Meredith, but I'm sounding like it. Anyway, no, I'm not 100% Team Meredith. All right. So they end up separating and going to, one group goes to cooking class, the other group does the donkey ride, okay? Meredith ends up walking away from the group. She's like, I'm not doing this. I can't. So she ends up walking, and mind you, she's in like 4-inch heels, maybe 5-inch heels, walking around. It's probably hot. It's May in Greece. Walking, it's beautiful. They're in Santorini. Beautiful right there. So she ends up walking around, and she eventually makes it back to the cooking class because she's like, where am I going to go? Where am I going to go? Nowhere. Go back there and go. Mind you, I would have never even walked away. But that's Meredith. She disengages. So the ladies already are there engaging with Giovanni. Giovanni is so lovely. And he's like fresh out of my Big Fat Greek Wedding movie. Great personality, so very sweet. So even when Meredith comes, he's so welcoming. He sees that Meredith is, not very happy. He even checks in on Meredith. He's like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, I'm missing my son. It's Mother's Day. I do feel like it's an excuse. And later on, when the group gets together and they bring it up, Heather brings it up. They call out, like, this is just an excuse. You're using this as an excuse. You knew that you were going to be here for Mother's Day. In all fairness, not me defending Meredith. In all fairness, you say it in your head, and you understand that you're going to be away from Mother's Day. However, the reality sometimes is very different than like, oh, I'm going away to work, and now I'm being bombarded by everyone hates me on this trip. So I can kind of see where Meredith is coming from. A little bit. Okay? All right. So Giovanni checks in on Meredith. Meredith's like, I miss my son. And she really leans into the performance because like her hair is down. Like if I had hair right now, it was like down in front of her face. And she's like looking down. She's not making eye contact with Giovanni. She's like, I miss my son. All right. Brittany says that she didn't talk to her kids for 3 years. The way I said out loud, Brittany, that's not that's your fault that you didn't talk to your kids for 3 years. Meredith's like, here you go. Everything it's got to be about you. Not only that, it's your fault your kids did not want to talk to you for 3 years. Like, were y'all also screaming at your televisions like, Brittany, you can't compare. Her kids love her. She's always been there for her kids. I don't know about what you've been doing, but okay, fine. The donkey ride. What were they doing during the donkey ride? Lisa asked if the donkey bites. But Lisa, I have to say, Lisa, despite the issues she's had with the group, she was fine in her group. Mary, I was so shocked. I was like, wait, is Mary part of the cooking class? Because I think if Mary was with Meredith, that would have been helpful. But Mary was a part of the donkey ride. And I was like, look at Mary. She has really come a long way. Even though when she was on it, she was like, oh no, this is too much. Mary is doing all the things that she needs to do to keep this check. Just saying. I don't know. Okay. But then they, as a group, talk about what's been going on with Meredith. And Angie says that Lisa needs to step back. She tells Lisa that you need to step back. And Lisa, in the moment, is just like, I know. But then she, in her confession, is like, I'm not, that's not the kind of friend that I am. I'm going to get myself involved. Because that's just the kind of friend that I am. Okay, Lisa. I don't know if I've seen that level of loyalty to other people in the group that you considered friends, but okay. So Mary says that she feels like something is off with Meredith. And based off the preview for next week, Mary is still harping on that in regards to she feels like something is off with Meredith. I mean, Mary is the only person that I believe, I know, this is coming rich after we just talked about this cult documentary, but she's the only one I believe in regards to the airplane incident. And I think that is what's concerning Mary. It's what she experienced with Meredith on the plane and how that's transpired since. Because Meredith hasn't really shown any accountability to that incident. I understand because of legal reasons why she wouldn't. But Mary seems to be very concerned, and that concern stems over into next week's episode. Yeah. Yep. All right. Then the rest of the group joins them for this lunch, okay? So Heather, when the rest of the group gets it, because they ask, like, how did everything go with Meredith, being here? And Heather says to Meredith, she points out that Meredith was upset that she didn't get a chance to talk to her son. And Heather says that Meredith is using that as a detour. And I agree, because immediately when she said that to Giovanni, I was just like, okay, Meredith. I mean, I do believe she's close with her son, but I do feel like she was dragging it. I don't believe like, oh my gosh, her making a big deal because she felt like they forced her to get off the phone. I don't think anyone can force Meredith to do what Meredith doesn't want to do. So if she really wanted to talk to Brooks and Vocal Fry for 5 minutes, she would have done it. You know what I mean? She would have done it. But apparently Brooks is getting on a flight and she won't be able to talk to him for Mother's Day. Okay. Fine. Okay. So Whitney, because then it leads to a conversation between Whitney and Meredith, and Whitney apologizes for calling Meredith a pill popper and an alcoholic, and that she should have never done it. But Whitney does that. If you've been watching this show for the last 6 seasons, Whitney does that. She kind of throws things out, and then tries to apologize later. But if you have a pattern of doing that, for me, the best apology is change behavior. And I don't feel like a lot of these people, and I get it, this is Housewives, a lot of them are not changing. They'll apologize just to apologize, but then they'll do it again. But I've noticed a pattern with Whitney. She does that. Okay? But Whitney says, despite her apologizing, she's still concerned about Meredith. And maybe Meredith's drinking and things like that. Okay. Maybe. Well, Meredith, based off of this conversation, feels like she's a little bit in a better place. A little bit. So they're back in the Sprinter. Meredith is in the back sleeping. All of a sudden, we get into a conversation about 1012. And I'm like, what's 1012? Heather says that Whitney keeps asking her if she's ever going to take a shower. And she's just like, and Whitney says, are you? And I'm like, ew, are you? Well, according to Heather, she has taken a shower. She just does it when Whitney's not in the room. But has Whitney not been in the room that long? Ew. Does she smell? Ew. Lord. But this is when Heather brings up the fact that about this sort of 1012. Meredith does a 1012. And Meredith is in the back sleeping, and they ask her about it. And she's like, what? She's like, yeah, I do a 1012. And then we're like, what's a 1012? She's like, oh, a pee and a poo. And Meredith's like, oh, I only do a 10-1. Okay. Then they start talking about the donkeys having diarrhea during their thing, and they flash back to that. Fine. Bronwyn's donkey had diarrhea. Mary's donkey had a normal bowel movement. That's what she said. All right. So the ladies end up going back to their villa, and they're by the pool. And I have to say, I was glad that we weren't arguing at this particular point, and they were just going to have a good time. Even Meredith came out in her bathing suit, but they couldn't tell it was a bathing suit. It looked like some sort of Chanel outfit with a little mini skirt. And they were like, where's your bathing suit? And then she takes off the bathing suit. Like it's like a really cool, almost suit-like bathing suit. All right. So, and Meredith, Brittany, and Whitney go into the pool, and they do a dog paddle race. But Whitney's killing it. So then they swim to one end, and they come back, and then Meredith cheats, and she stops dog paddling and just starts swimming. And Whitney's like, you cheated. But they're having a good time. Mind you, they weren't getting along before, but they're having a good time. They're all laughing and having a good time. Angie steals Meredith's outfit to go put it on. Okay. All right. Apparently, Brooks and Chloe sent their mom some Mother's Day flowers. Beautiful bouquet of flowers was sent to her. So she was very happy about that. So they end up talking about, some girl talk. Angie says that Heather got the hottest guy in school and they dry humped. Remember, we've talked about that before. I forgot what they call it. What is it? Hot dog? I don't remember what it's called again. But y'all remember we talked about, there's something in Mormonism, what they call that, where you don't do anything besides like everything. But then they also remind me that Angie and Heather have known each other such a long time. When we talk about Real Housewives, there's not a lot of cities anymore where people really have history together. And I think that's also part of the magic of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. There's a real history, even if they weren't best of friends, but they knew each other back then. Lisa has known these people too a long time. Some people she's had closer connections with, but they've known each other. And I think that's what works and what's missing in Real Housewives. I'm not sure about Rhode Island and what the history connection might be with some of the ladies there, but we shall see. We shall see. I can't say, I know you guys always ask me, are you excited? I can't get excited about Real Housewives anymore. If it's good, I'll get excited. If I watch it, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this was pretty damn good. But we'll see. I feel like the Suits, the Suits really are disengaged to what people really would like to see on these shows. And I think every once in a while we get a good one, not because of the Suits, but because just casting. So shout out to the casting folks. All right. So in between them talking about this girl talk, Mary's always going to have a little side comment. And shout out to the editors for keeping it in. Mary's eating the shrimp and she's like, I don't think they dewormed this. Okay. Back to the things at hand. So they talk about kissing girls. Has anyone ever kissed a woman before? We learned a thing or two about Bronwyn. Bronwyn said that she's kissed a handful of women. And apparently it's gone beyond second base. Oh. And now it makes you understand why she's such an LGBTQ plus advocate. And she really has been calling out people, especially in the housewives world, that are not speaking up for largely a huge community of people in that community that watch the show. But now we understand why. We didn't know. So she said that she's kissed a handful of women and she's done more than kissing. And when Whitney comes out, she's like, Whitney, save me. She's like, why? Well, they're asking me all these questions. And then Whitney and Bronwyn kiss, like a peck on the mouth. Nothing deep, okay? Brittany says, I've kissed like 367 men. Excuse me? All right. She's kissed 367 men. And everyone's like, how do you know the number? And they were like, do you keep this track? Do you track this on a spreadsheet? Because remember, that was the joke with her and Jared. Brittany, I really hope that you and Jared do not come back next season. And when I say you and Jared, I mean the Jared of it all. I don't mind if you come back. Did you guys see her what was it? She did it 54 and below or something. I forgot what the name of that venue is here in New York City. She had like a little performance and Heather was there, Whitney was there, Bronwyn was there, Angie was there, and they did a little performance with her, like a little Mean Girls performance. And she sounded, look, she's the only housewife currently that can really sing. And I heard little clips about it and I was like, she sounds great. And I love that she made it quirky and funny. She even had her daughter that we've seen on the show there perform with her. It was cute from the clips that I saw. Did I regret not going? No, not at all. But good on y'all that did end up going. If she decided to take that on the road, legitimately, she should, because she actually can sing. You hear that, Countess Luann? But y'all still go to see Countess Luann. Y'all love it. Which is, at the end of the day, your money. Your money. So when she says Brittany says that she's kissed 367, Mary says that's how many members are in my church. Oh, wait a minute. Speaking of the church, okay? So if one member is giving $1,000, if all of them gave $1,000 or $5,000, that's a whole lot of money. Okay. All right. Meredith talks about getting in trouble. She's like, yeah, I got in trouble once, and now my mother's going to find out about this. So the build-up of this story, everyone's like, wait, what did you do, Meredith? She's like, I'm the youngest, and I broke a dish. And she's like, sorry, Mom. Everyone's like, that is the story? Meredith is never going to let you guys see her sweat in that way. Okay, she's never going to tell you guys anything more than she's willing to legally. Okay? And I think that's part of why over the years of like, Meredith could go. There's never anything really going on with Meredith. I will say, though, in the last couple of seasons, Meredith she's given moments. She's given moments that I'm like, well, I'm kind of glad she wasn't gone. All right. Then the ladies end up getting dressed for a night out. Mary is not going. Mary stays back, okay? We find out in the Sprinter that Brittany trademarked high body count hair. You remember that was an insult that Angie said to Brittany, meaning like I guess she has like her hair was like slutty hair or whatever it may be. Angie was like, that is so embarrassing that you would trademark something that I said. Well, I don't think that it's embarrassing. And I can understand why Angie might be annoyed by it because she's like, I should have trademarked that. It was something that I said. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way with trademarks. Anyone could have trademarked it. You just didn't do it. But it becomes a bone of contention in the last few minutes of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City that Brittany, I'm actually surprised. Anyone else surprised? That Brittany had the foresight to like, I'm going to trademark this. Part of me feels, though, that someone else told her to trademark it. And I'm not saying that Brittany's not smart enough to do something like that. But part of me was like, someone told you to do that. Maybe it was Jared. You should trademark that. I wouldn't be shocked. But she says that she's trademarking it. But here's the thing. Doing a trademark takes a minute. Like there's a search period and things like that. I don't know when she started to do this. I don't know if she's gotten the trademark. She said that she's working on the trademark. Angie, I think you need to talk to your lawyers. Just saying, you could start the trademark too and say, well, it's on the show that I literally said it. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it though. Yes, high body count here. We know you said it. I don't know if it's worth trademarking it, to be honest. You know what I mean? And they made a joke of it earlier in the season. Remember they did a little high body count hair party for Brittany? So it becomes a bone of contention because even once they get to the club, they're still talking about it. Even Bronwyn and Meredith have Angie's back on it. And Angie then calls Brittany Ditzarella. Ditzarella. Heather says that high body count hair isn't original. Like she's not the creator of that. And I'm thinking to myself, I've never heard that term before in regards to high body count hair. Maybe you guys have. I've never heard it before. And maybe someone already has it trademarked. I don't know. But Heather's like, that's not really original and blah, blah, blah. Okay? Brittany says that Angie just wasn't smart enough to do it first. And look, I like Angie, but I have to agree with Brittany. But then Angie says, Angie said this in the car, in the Sprinter. She says that because she started taking more digs at Brittany, she's like, I think your hair is too long for your age. Mind you, Angie has long, straight, jet black hair. And she said, I think it looks cheap. Well, in all fairness, Angie doesn't look her age. Her hair doesn't look cheap. And as she's saying this, and when they get to the club and they're talking about her hair, I'm looking at Brittany's hair and I'm like, her hair does look a little like matted, and that's not matted, but it doesn't look healthy. But then I think about the confessionals, and I have to give Brittany some credit. Her confessionals have been looking good. But then I noticed in her confessionals, she cut her hair. It's like shoulder length. So you are taking notes. You're taking the trademark for high body count hair, and you're listening to Angie, and you cut your hair. So maybe Angie was right. I mean, this is Angie's business. So maybe Angie was right. It looks good on you, though. I will say the hair looks good. I like the shorter cut. Angie actually has beautiful hair. And again, this is her business. I don't know. Guys, if you're just joining us, do not forget to like the video. Do not forget, if you're listening to audio version of this, to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. On Apple Podcasts, don't forget you can become a member of Club Kempire, where I spill tea and talk about other things that I don't talk about anywhere else. And if you're a Club Kempire baddie, I do owe you an episode. But it's been busy. It's the holiday season. Calm down. Yesterday, we were on TikTok, and I was cooking in the kitchen. So shout out to those of you that joined me on TikTok in the kitchen, cooking and spilling tea. We were talking about Married to Medicine. We were talking about Real Housewives of Potomac. I did a recap after my Married to Medicine and Real Housewives of Potomac recaps on Monday. I did like a TikTok recap. I'm not going to do that all the time, but the last few weeks I've been doing that. So if you missed it, that's the thing about TikTok. I don't upload the lives from that. So you got to be there. So make sure you follow me on TikTok, tiktok.com/@TheKempire. Excuse me. Okay. What was the other thing that I wanted to mention? Oh, reminder, again, for those that might be just joining us, one night only. Kempire After Dark is happening in New York City, Friday, March 13th. It's the only show that I have booked for 2026, and I'm not planning to do any other shows for the year. Not promising that I might not do another one-off somewhere else, but East Coast, I'm telling you right now, this will be the only show for 2026. We're doing different things in 2026. I've had a fantastic time coming to cities around the country and around the world. Shout out to London. That was an amazing opportunity. But again, doing tours takes a lot of manpower. It takes a lot of work. Not only am I booking and coordinating and producing and hosting and delivering and traveling and doing all those things falls on me. So in 2026, I got to trim the fat. But New York City, we're going to do it. And the great thing about the New York City show, even if you can't come to New York City, but if you want to, you should. Even if you can't, there's a live stream option. So when you go to KempireAfterDarkLive.com/NYC, you'll see the different options. There's meet and greet tickets available for this show. Look when you click buy tickets, you'll see different options for different places where you can sit in the venue. And you'll see an option to add the meet and greet. So if you would like to meet and greet with me, this will be your opportunity. So click that, the show plus meet and greet. Or if you want the live stream option, go all the way down to the bottom of that page and you'll see the live stream option. Ticket information. Tickets are now on sale. More information will be available in the description. I can't wait for this show because a lot's going to happen by then. Real Housewives of Atlanta will have happened. Potomac, who knows? You know, these shows are where I'm able to really give you the tea, where you're able to drop tea as well. Just saying. And I still have not even released some of the footage. So if you're a member of the channel, I'm going to release some footage. I know I've been saying it, but again, that's another thing for me to edit and put out. But I do have some footage from the summer tour, and I have merch. Head on over to houseofkempire.com for our Kempire After Dark, the Villain Era merch. That's available there, along with Are You Okay merch and other things, okay? Happy holidays. You know, we're celebrating the holidays here on the channel as well. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. The holidays are just bombarding, right? Because it's just like, oh my God, now, I mean, I don't even have a long list of people that I need to shop for, but you know, there's service people, there's just, you know, there's a lot of people to get cards and money and things like that for. So that's why today is pre-recorded. I got things to do. I got places to be, you know what I mean? I got to meet with my dietitian. I got to do Pilates. You know, you got to prioritize your health too, because you're not good to anyone if you're not healthy. Just saying. Right? Right. All right. And that includes drinking your water. How would you guys rate this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? I thought it was decent. I was entertained. Okay. I would probably rate it a 7. But like I said before, I feel like we were building this season, and now I feel like we're teetering. But again, they already filmed their reunion. That means we're almost at the end. So I'm ready for it to come to an end. I hope it's a good reunion, though. That will be the deciding factor for me if this was a good season. If the reunion is lackluster, because remember, they had such a good season last season, but their reunion wasn't good. I just remember that, right? The reunion was like, luckily they had a really great season, but the reunion was lackluster. So I don't know if we have another lackluster reunion. And we already know that Bronwyn's going to announce that she's separated. That's not going to be enough. And I don't need the dramatics. I just need full circle moment. I need to laugh. I need some of that. But I'm more excited about the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion. Even though their season has been kind of mid, not bad, because we know what bad looks like, right? Real Housewives of New York, reboot and the reboot. But I'm looking forward to the Potomac reunion. Production, I know you watch. I need y'all to make sure that Karen Huger's there because she wasn't there for the last reunion. She needs to be there for this reunion to answer for things that happened in the past and also the issues. But then they probably do not want... See, this is where it gets weird with production because they probably do not want Karen and Wendy to resolve their issues at this reunion. They probably want to drag the issues into season 11. I find them to be so annoying because they're so particular. This is why we're seeing what we're seeing with Salt Lake City, why they're not filming an after show together. Like, come on, like stop all this trying to orchestrate everything. That's why things are becoming lackluster. You guys think that you're doing something genius, but it's so unnatural. So bring her to the reunion. I mean, you don't have to necessarily talk about your issues at the reunion, but I need Karen Huger at the reunion, especially if you're going to end the season with Karen Huger coming home, a one-on-one. She should be at the reunion to answer for the stuff that she didn't answer for in season 9. All right. And she should be out there the entire time because I'd like to hear her reactions to what played out during the season. Oh, Kiarna. Damn. I do want to hear what Karen has to say. All right, guys, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. It's easy. It's free. Be sure to subscribe. We're almost at 560,000 subscribers. And I know what you're thinking, Kempire, why are we not at 1 million? I don't know. We definitely get millions of views. And you know we put out over 600 plus videos in 2025. Let me know if you guys if I've made your number top 5 or number 1 of your YouTube videos that you watch. And let me know how many videos that you've watched. Thank you in advance. I am truly humbled and honored and thankful that you guys have been watching the content. Like I see from the views and stuff like that, but I love seeing that I was like your number 1 or your number 2 or just in your top 5. I appreciate it. Keep letting me know. I love seeing that. Thank you to our King's Guards. Thank you to our channel members. Thank you to our subscribers. Do all the things, guys, before we go. All right? Thank you. Thank you. I hope you guys have a fantastic holiday season. I know there's a lot going on in the world. I hope that this was a little bit of a break from some of that. Let's continue to talk about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City in the comment section. Replay crew, I want to know your thoughts as well. All right, y'all. See you all in the next one. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. Don't forget to give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And for more information on the podcast, head on over to KempireRadio.com.